Let's go over how to properly wind and insert your bobbins. And when it comes to sewing machines, your bobbin will probably be one of these three variations. A front-loading bobbin, which lives inside the machine in a metal bobbin casing. A top drop-in bobbin, which is right on top of your stitch plate with a protective lid, and it has these little metal slots. And a drop and sew bobbin, which is very similar to a drop-in bobbin, being it's on the stitch plate with a protective lid, but you'll notice it has this little track where you can stage the thread. Now, I'll show you how to properly use those variations later in this video, but first, let's wind. All right, when it comes to winding a bobbin, for all machines, it's pretty much the same process. All machines will have a bobbin winding spindle right here, as well as a bobbin tension disc. This looks like a little screw on this machine, but as you can see here, this is a Singer Heavy Duty 4411, a standard mechanical machine. This is a computerized heavy duty, and again, it has a bobbin winding spindle and a bobbin tension disc. Same for this machine that I said was a front loading. It has a bobbin winding spindle and a tension disc. So the process I'm about to show you can be done on all machines. So I'm only going to show it to you on this one model today. All right, so first you want to make sure your spool of thread is on your spool pin, just like that. You're going to take your empty bobbin and you notice there's holes on both the top and the bottom. So I'm first going to go over to hook number 1, gonna just pop it on there like that. Then you're going to wrap your thread around that bobbin tension disc in the direction that the photo is showing. So I'm going to go around the dish this way and make sure it properly lands in that tension. And then you're going to pull it over towards your bobbin winding spindle, this little guy here. So I'm going to take the end of my thread, and this is again where if it's frayed, you might need to trim it. And I'm going to put it up through this top hole. So I'm going to actually go through the middle like this and then up through the top. I'm going to pull it all the way so it's nice and tight. And then I'm going to pull my bobbin over here to this spindle and pop it on there. And what you're going to want to do first is just simply hold the thread up above. You don't need to cut it yet because first we want to wrap it around a couple times. But what you're going to do first, push this bobbin over to the right. And that tells the machine, okay, now it's bobbin time. So you are going to press on your foot pedal and hold this above just for a few seconds. So you're going to notice it now is wrapping around. It's a good bit amount around now, so it's caught on. So I'm going to trim this excess thread here at the top, right where it meets the bobbin. Now I'm going to press my foot pedal and continue winding the bobbin. Continue to wind it till it gets pretty full and basically touches this little white lever here called the bobbin winding stopper. Then when you're done, you're going to push this back to the left. You're going to pop off your bobbin. You're going to go ahead and trim the thread somewhere so you're disconnecting the two. And now you have a fully wound bobbin, which I will show you how to insert for the different variations. Let's start with the drop and sew bobbin. So first, take your bobbin as if it was in the shape of the letter P, so the thread tail is on the left side, and you're going to follow this thread track with an arrow. So get your thread in this track, follow it around, and there's a little blade here on the left side. So you can either snip that before or after you put the lid on. I like to put my lid on first and then snip that excess thread. And now you can begin sewing. You don't need to bring the bobbin thread up from underneath. Once your needle's threaded, you can fully just start sewing with a drop and sew bobbin. For a top drop-in bobbin, you'll insert it just like the last one with the thread tail on the left side as if it was in the shape of the letter P. And then you're going to pull it towards you slightly and wrap it around these little metal slots and then pull your thread tail over to the left. Now, this next part is important to remember, and this is how it's different than a drop and sew bobbin. So you need to make sure your needle is threaded. And you can either put your screen on now or do it after the fact. I like to do it after. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring that bobbin tail thread up from underneath using your needle. Now, I know that sounds confusing, but what we're going to do is you're going to turn your hand wheel towards you a couple times, and it's going to slowly bring the bobbin thread up from underneath. So as you'll see here, I'm turning my hand wheel nice and slow. That needle thread is going to wrap around and grab that bobbin thread tail. And as you do that, then you're going to gently tug on the needle thread from above, and it's going to pull the bobbin thread from underneath. Once that little loop appears, go ahead and grab it and pull it all the way through. So then you'll have your bobbin thread and your needle thread fully above your stitch plate. Now, once both threads are up, you can put on your protective screen, and now you can begin sewing. Lastly, for the front loading bobbin, first let's talk about this bobbin casing. I know it might look a little scary. It's this metal casing, and if you're ever trying to take it out of the machine, you can pull on this little flap here to remove it from the inside of the machine. You'll notice it has slots and tracks to kind of follow the thread along. So what you're going to do first is, again, in the shape of the letter P, take your bobbin and put it inside of the casing right around the little center notches to match it up. You're going to gently pull the thread over till it's in those little slots, and it's going to go into a chamber here that will hold the thread. So you're going to gently slide it into this first slot, over and into the chamber. Make sure it's in there nice and good. And now we can pop it in the machine. So you're going to take the casing that has the bobbin in it, and the center part of the bobbin is going to go around this rod here, and you're going to press it in, match it up, and once you know it's in place, it will make a snap noise. Now, just like the drop-in bobbin, we need to bring the bobbin thread up from underneath using that needle thread. So you're going to turn your hand wheel towards you a couple times, nice and slow, and you notice this thread comes around the middle. Then that's when you're going to gently tug on that needle thread that's up above, and it's going to slowly bring up that bobbin thread. So once that comes up, go ahead and grab that, pull it on out, ensuring you have both your bobbin thread and your needle thread up above the stitch plate.